Subscribe with iTunes, Audio Boom, Stitcher, or your favorite podcasting app. And if you enjoy what you hear, like us on Facebook. Also, consider throwing a little cash our way by visiting patreon.com/KoreaFM. And find more of our great content on our home on the web, KoreaFM.net.
I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause.
Pokemon Go has become an overnight international success with millions of downloads and users across the world. But for Pokemon fans here in South Korea, the success of the new app has been bittersweet, as the game has not yet been officially released in the ROK. However, there is one way to play Pokemon Go, and I spoke with a game expert here in Seoul who did just that.
My name is Wilfred Lee, and I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. I've been living in Korea for the past 10 years, and I'm currently working with a group of international gamers here in Korea called Gangnam Gamers.
You've been to Seoul, you've been playing Pokemon Go, and you've also started a Facebook group for people here in South Korea who are interested in doing that activity. But let's get to the real gist of what we're talking about here. For the first place, for someone who's never played Pokemon Go, for someone who might not be familiar with Pokemon at all, what is Pokemon Go? And aside from, as we'll get to somewhere in South Korea where it's a little difficult to play, how would one normally go about playing this?
Okay, so essentially Pokemon Go is based on the popular, kids game called Pokemon. It's not really even for kids anymore. A lot of people have been growing up with it. And it's essentially you are a trainer and you collect Pokemons, aka other types of creatures. They have different type of elements and strengths like fire or electricity and water, etc. And with Pokemon Go, you use your phone that enables AR. So AR is also known as augmented reality. So the most popular form is VR these days, virtual reality, where you are transported into a different state of reality through a kind of like an eyeglass where, something you put over your eyes to see. But the difference with AR is that it changes the reality or environment around you through your iPhone. So you look through your iPhone and then you can check on the map as you're walking in real time to find any Pokemon that may probably just pop up in your immediate area. Or you can actually find real landmarks in the world that are considered to be Pokestops where you can get in-game items. Or there can be other landmarks where they're considered to be Poke Gyms where you can train and you can also fight against other Pokemon masters.
So you just mentioned how it would work for someone in an area that is lucky enough to be able to have Pokemon Go be available to them. But why doesn't Pokemon Go work for most people here in South Korea? It is working in Sokcho. We'll get to that in a second. But for people here in the Seoul area like you and I, it's not working. And why is that?
There's been a few reasons and a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors. One of the issues people have been discussing about is this anti-mapping law with Korea. So a while back, Google actually officially asked the Korean government to allow Google to export the map of Korea. And that was around June 1st, 2016. And then at that time, they have about 60 days to decide whether to approve it or not. And that should be by the August 25th. And because of the the popularity of Pokemon Go, they're hopefully going to make a decision sooner. And actually, Google asked for the same map in 2007 to the NIS, otherwise known as the Korean Intelligence Service. And in 2014, the government actually allowed a map of Korea, but it had a ratio of 1 to 25,000 to the public. But what Google requested was a ratio of 1 to 5,000. So that gives more of an error range of 3 meters. And the reason why they only gave a ratio of 1 to 25,000 is because of laws and for security protocols, because Korea is still essentially in a state of war with North Korea. They don't necessarily want to give all their detailed information, in case North Korea finds something out. So if you ever check Naver maps, anytime there's something around a particular army base, they usually put duplicates of a forest, or they kind of just block it out. So that is apparently one of the main reasons. And Niantic, the company that made Pokemon Go, they actually came up with a game before this called Ingress. And Ingress actually does work in Korea despite not having any map, like very accurate or well, working maps to use it. But the game does work. So for some reason, all the blocking out, they missed this one pocket of Korea, which is in the Sokcho area, and it's available to actually play Pokemon Go at the time for now.
Before we start talking about your trip to Sokcho and you started a Facebook group, could you just expand a little bit? Why specifically was Sokcho able to make it into this data? It's just the really only spot that people are talking about here in South Korea that people are going to. How was that possible?
Yeah, if you actually check on Twitter or sometimes Google there, if you actually just type in Google Pokemon Go Korea map, you will actually see a map of just all of Korea, north and south. And on south, basically there is this kind of like these parallelograms, these kind of diamond-shaped positions that have been sectioned off all of South Korea to say you're not allowed to, post or show any mapping of this area. And because Korea itself is not a perfect shape for this, for this mapping out, it just left this one pocket, which is in Sokcho, that did not fit the anti-law requirements. So for some reason, they just slightly missed this one area. And, there's been a lot of verified rumors, and there's been photos, and there's been people streaming there. So it looks like it is actually working there. And if you do go there, there are actually no maps showing in the game, but you can still see Pokestops, you can still see Pokemon going around. So hopefully, even if Korea has Pokemon Go release, it'll probably look like that, and I'm sure people will be satisfied regardless of having a map or not there.
And so you and other people, you eventually realized that even though Pokemon Go wasn't officially available in South Korea, this area of Sokcho was somewhere where you couldn't get full functionality, as you mentioned, but you were able to go there. So you started a Facebook group and you got people together to go to Sokcho. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so what was really interesting was, I think it was last week, I think a Monday or a Tuesday, I can't remember. I think it might have been a Tuesday. I was just working at the office, and some people were saying during lunchtime, oh my God, Pokemon Go is actually working. And then we turned it on, and it actually worked for this small window of time for 2 hours around, more or less. And during that time, people were kind of talking about it, like, oh my God, I think Pokemon Go is actually working. And then the servers were closed down, and there were these rumors, oh, maybe it was by accident, it wasn't an official thing, it was just like a server test. But just from that brief moment in my lunch break, I actually started just to walk around the neighborhood of where I work. And it was kind of interesting. I was checking out all these landmarks. I was going to these places I never went to before. And I was just so impressed by this because I've always been a huge fan of AR. Like, there's always been a lot of potential. Some things haven't been working so far, things like Google Glasses. But for some reason, there was something special about this as being a really interesting social experiment felt like opening up a portal. And you're literally moving differently around the world by playing Pokemon Go. It's just taking the world, well, I guess some parts of the world by storm, in the sense that how they're reacting and interacting with the world, socializing with people more or less overall more positively, has been kind of phenomenal, really. So I immediately wanted to make a Pokemon Go Korea because I didn't know exactly when it would be released, but my essential idea is that I really would love to gather and make a huge event where all the people who are interested in Pokemon Go in Korea could all meet up. And it would be such an amazing possibility to check out all these amazing landmarks in Korea and go as a group and just kind of experience, Korea with fresh new eyes again. And my friends at Gangnam Gamers, we had the opportunity and approval to go to Sokcho. We're like, okay, let's just see if it works there. We got up at 6 a.m. We just drove there. And as soon as we did, it was working. And what we've been trying to do is gather all the screenshots and kind of make a public map for all the people in the group of Pokemon Go to say, hey, we checked all these spots, trying to give recommendations, trying to make like an infrastructure that once it's started and ready to go, that people can check out all these places and just make an overall positive community that people can play and socialize through Pokemon Go.
And then so you guys, as Gangnam gamers, you got a car, I'm guessing probably just because of the ease of having your own vehicle, but then also all these news reports, all the bus tickets have been sold out, all these people have been going to Sokcho. You got that information, and then you're posting that online. You run a Facebook group that is probably the premier place for people getting information.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really funny because within a span of 2 days, it already reached 1,000 members. So right now it's about like 1,300, which is pretty phenomenal just for a game that's not even released yet. But yeah, to go to Sokcho afterwards and with my friends at Gangnam Gamers, it was really interesting because we took it as a very as a way to play the game, but more in a journalistic perspective for gaming, to give any news about what gaming culture is like in Korea to the rest of the world. And it was so interesting because you go to, as soon as you are about to arrive to Sokcho by car or bus, there's this one glimmer of hope. You turn on your Pokemon Go, and in the barren waste of blue sea and green, there's nothing there, but suddenly you start to see these things start to pop up, and immediately you just get excited. And once you go to Sokcho, it's really interesting. It's really interesting to see people just hanging out just at at a park, and they're all at this one area, and they're socializing in their own way. People are getting really excited. There's couples walking around and just, trying to catch Pokemon together. And I don't know, it's just been a really interesting perspective. And I can't even imagine what 2 years from now is going to be like once it's such a common thing for everyone around the world to play Pokemon Go.
And so once again, that Facebook group is Pokemon Go Korea. I just checked it. It's about 1,300 members right now, if I remember that correctly. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about Sokcho. When you were there with Gangnam Gamers and you were going around, I like how you phrase it, we're like journalists covering the game. We're not playing the game. I'm sure you guys are playing the game a little bit as well. What were people saying? Were people like upset that they had to travel to Sokcho? I mean, I'm sure people in Sokcho are also taking advantage of this, and what a place to just be living, all of a sudden the only place really in South Korea where you can play Pokemon Go. But the people that are going there, I assume are outnumbering the people who are playing it just because they live in the area. Are these people upset that they don't have the proper maps, that they have to travel all the way to Sokcho? Are they blaming the South Korean government? Because I know, I don't want to get into the specifics, but I know that there has been a release from one of the ministries saying that no, it's not the fact that we're holding back this map data because Ingress worked here before, so we're going to call Google out on this, and we're saying it's not our fault, and we'll find out probably sometime in the future just why it didn't come out, and if it was Google or if it was the government. But what are people saying? Who are they blaming? Are they blaming anyone, or are they just happy that they can finally play a version of the game by traveling to Sokcho?
Right. So, I think for first, the only fact that we know with what's going on with the release of Pokemon Go in Korea is there is no official release date when it will be released in Korea. There is no specific reason why that's been officially announced by Niantic or Nintendo or Pokemon franchise at all about what is the specific reason. So at this point, any news or kind of links that you mostly will find is a lot of speculation. It's just a lot of popular things that are going on is people are saying, my cousin who works at Nintendo, who has a brother or a sister that kind of associated with the father that works at Niantic, apparently said that this is going to happen in Saturday, and we can't hope to start playing this game. It's always like word of mouth by person status. So people are just kind of more upset that they can't play it, and the people who go to Sokcho to go there, I mean, it's fun. I mean, this is actually kind of a really weird, interesting milestone in our lives. It's a really weird part in history to kind of be part of this moment where you're going to Sokcho. The mayor is absolutely delighted. He's happy. He's never heard of Pokemon Go, but he will forever hear it. And for some reason, Sokcho has become such a popular spot. And when you go there, it's actually a really cool place. It's completely different from Seoul, completely different from Busan, has its own specific feeling, atmosphere, has a great beach that you can go over there. You can catch Pokemon there as well. They have an awesome park. They have great food. It's a really good experience, and it's kind of amazing how people are taking their own kind of leadership to kind of either organize a trip and get a group of random strangers just for the sake of having the same passion to play Pokemon, whether it's for like a day or not, and take a bus trip and head out there and play is kind of really, really inspiring to see for the positive aspects of what's going on with it. And overall, people are just upset if they can't go to Sokcho. I heard this past weekend the servers were down because of this attack. There was an attack on the Pokemon Go servers. Apparently, it was proclaimed by this hacking group called Poodle Corp, and it was like a DDoS attack, which is a distributed denial of service. So basically what it does, like hackers can crash the servers by flooding them with so many requests at every second that they can't even cope with it, and then it just kind of closes off. So some people were really upset about that, where they went all the way there amidst the rain. They tried to struggle. They got some Pokemon, and then suddenly this attack happened. Not just in Korea, but just for the server in general for Pokemon. But just to play for a little bit kind of gives them a lot of hope and more excitement to hopefully have Pokemon Go available in all of Korea.
And then, Wilfred, final question I want to ask you. I just watched this really funny video. I'm sure you've seen it, and I'm sure other people have checked it out as well. Basically, it was like Central Park in New York City, some rare Pokemon spawned, and you had people running across the street. The best part of this video is some guy's in his car, and he's either waiting there because traffic has stopped, or he rolls up, I can't remember, and he just leaves his car in the road and just like runs off towards the spawn Pokemon, and the people who are recording the video are just making funny comments. It's just a fantastic video. Here in South Korea specifically, often people will either complain or just point out that everyone's looking on their smartphone. Everyone is not paying attention where they're going. I ride my bike a lot over the summer, and I'm constantly worried I'm going to smash into people because we'll be 20 meters away, but they'll just keep walking at me while they're looking at their phone, and I'll be ding, 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 and they won't notice. Is this going to get epically worse if everyone's playing Pokemon Go here in South Korea?
In terms of like just interacting and not paying attention?
Yeah, people just walking around, or just like if something spawns, is there just going to be this mass, horde of people that looks like the new zombie movie, Busan Hang, I forget, or Train to Busan, whatever the English translation is. I mean, I could see this maybe going sour pretty quickly in South Korea once it gets rolling here. I just want to know what your thoughts are on this. Are you worried at all? Do you think people might be able to handle it?
I mean, it just depends on what kind of person they are, really. Some people are responsible. Like, there's already a lot of people who are using phones and they don't even look up in the meantime. But, I mean, yeah, for sure. There's going to be a lot of people that mess up. There's been reports that 2 people actually died from falling off a cliff. And then you're thinking, how do people not notice a cliff, And
these guys, they scaled a fence. I mean, they knew what they were doing. They just unfortunately went a little too far.
Exactly. So, some people will go out there. I mean, I'm waiting for that moment where people go to the DMZ and they find this really, really rare Pokemon, like a Vaporeon or whatever it is, and it's just on the other side. And they're just like thinking, this is the most rare thing, but is it willing? Am I willing to risk it all to be the best? And we're going to see how that holds up. And if that does happen, it's going to be a really interesting situation for relations with North and South Korea, how maybe really strict rules. There's been a lot of restaurants and places of business where they've kind of banned Pokemon Go because it's been annoying. There's been one guy in the States where, for some reason, his house was actually mistaken as a church many years ago, so now it's considered as a Pokestop or a Poke Gym, and a lot of people go over near his house and try to take it over, virtually. And it's kind of a nightmare for him. And it's I don't know. We're literally battling with two separate realities, and they are now merging together. It had to be a popular franchise like Pokemon to make it work with AR, but now we're literally seeing this really weird moment in our lives where reality and this sub-reality of gaming is literally intertwined, and they're both creating a new form of reality. Whereas, like I mentioned before, VR is really different. You're transported into another one. AR is completely different. Reality, interacts with this other form, and it's how we react is going to be completely different. And the stakes that people are willing to take in order to be the best in this sub-reality, where we always go there for gaming in order to make all these different type of avatars to kind of show another alter ego of ourselves to be a better person. People might go to great lengths, and it's just a matter of time until we see these things and maybe some new laws to kind of hopefully control that.
I've been speaking with Wilfred Lee, a Canadian living here in South Korea, like myself in the Seoul area, works with Gangnam Gamers. He runs the Pokemon Go Korea Facebook group. He's been to Sokcho. So check out that group. People are posting it constantly with updates about weather or about, if it's gone down, what the situation is here in South Korea as well as around the world. So if you're interested, definitely check that out. And Wilfred, best of luck. Don't fall into some river the next time you go to Sokcho. And thank you for talking with me about not only a phenomenon that's worldwide, but really for the people who are going to Sokcho, something that they're really investing a lot of their time in. So thank you for speaking with me.
Thanks a lot, Chance. Really appreciate it.
Media reports have said bus tickets and other transportation options to Sokcho immediately sold out when it was discovered that Pokemon Go could be played there. But I spoke with another gamer who says he and his wife were one of the first groups to travel to the city and live stream their gameplay on YouTube and Twitch.
Our channel name is EXBC, and my name is Esco, and my wife's name is Hosu, and we stream on Twitch and YouTube, and we got many social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are married couple. 6 years. And we every day streaming about the Pokemon Go and the social eating and the many other things.
Excellent. So, Esco, of course, we're talking because you and your wife recently decided to go to Sokcho to play Pokemon Go. So, let's talk about that. Why did you guys decide to go to Sokcho?
So honestly, we always play the Ingress. Ingress of that game is augmented reality game too. But one day in the morning, I just heard about the news from the internet. Sokcho City is available for playing Pokemon Go. So as soon as I get up, I just woke my wife up. And let's go to Sokcho. And we just went to Sokcho and we played so well. And that was so great. And we streamed that on Twitch, and that was so popular.
And so my first question is, when you and your wife decided, when you yelled at her, as you just mentioned, and you said it's time to go to Sokcho, how did you get there? I mean, there are so many reports that are saying that the bus tickets were sold out. All the ways to get there were already being snatched up by all these other players because, as you mentioned, on the internet, people just found out, hey, this is the one place we can play Pokemon Go here in South Korea. So how did you and your wife get down there? Because you were in the first wave. You got there as quickly as you could.
Yeah, that's right. As soon as I heard about the news, there was very recent news, and that was the morning. So I just woke up and I did everything so fast. And we live in Incheon. Maybe all the bus ticket from Seoul City was sold out, but the Incheon city's the bus ticket was not sold out. So we just used the Incheon city from Incheon bus terminal, and to get there, get in Sokcho City, it took only 3 hours and 30 minutes. And we get there because the speed was very important. And as soon as we get there, we just started streaming, and that was so popular.
Yeah, I've watched some of the videos that you and your wife did. The live streams are now available just to download on demand or to view on demand. And so when you got there, my first question is, were there other people there? Like, was it obvious who was living in Sokcho and who was walking around with their cell phone trying to catch Pokemon using the Pokemon Go game? And were you finding that more people were coming as the day went on, or when you got there, was there already a huge amount of people? What was it like in Sokcho?
When you get there, Sokcho City, we just found the other players and streamers, the Pokemon Go player and streamers, and we just felt a little bit in the competition. Oh, that is so. We just called them competitor on my stream. Anyways, but they were so quick and maybe it's 2 days later, 1 day later, and 2 days later, so many people, people are getting more and more. So, yeah, that's right. So so many passengers and look down their cell phone screen, and we just felt, the Pokemon Go is really hot in Korea, and I just heard about the news. It is not released in South Korea yet, but unofficially downloaded a million downloads already. So yeah, I think that is so popular, and so many people play like that.
How has the mayor of Sokcho and the city of Sokcho opened itself up to these people that are coming to play Pokemon Go? I've seen reports that they have free Wi-Fi and they're trying to make sure everyone is really comfortable. What was that like? What were some of the things that you saw being offered?
Yeah, I just heard about the news, and there's the free Wi-Fi zone and free Wi-Fi map. But we didn't need it because we just use the LTE. Because I'm just using the unlimited LTE, so just in when I just hang out with my wife with Pokemon Go, every day we used to play. We used to stream outside stream before, so we got know how to use the LTE. So that was not so difficult to us.
And then, so was that the extent of what they were doing? Were they just offering free Wi-Fi? Or was that it? Or were there other places? Did they have, locations where Pokemon Go players could sit down and recharge any of their devices? Or did they have places where you could just kind of sit with air conditioning and enjoy yourself and then go back out? I mean, what were they offering the players in Sokcho?
In that place, maybe, but they are using the Pokemon Go for the promotion, their motel or restaurant or a yacht place like that. And if the other people go to Sokcho, maybe they can use so many benefit. And so I just heard about that. If someone called them 30 Pokemon Go, 30 Pokemon around the yacht place, the yacht place will discount 30%, like that. So, there are so many promotion, and maybe so many people can't use that, and I think Pokemon Go is moving, and so many people can diet with jogging like that. So. And I think the Sokcho City, they support so many things for the Pokemon Go player. So maybe so many players that really like it.
And then you just mentioned a yacht, something that I saw in one of your videos. You and your wife, you actually went out on the water to catch Pokemon on a boat. Could you talk about that?
We just try to. Yeah, we just try to catch a Pokemon on the sea. using yacht, and but I just caught only 2 Pokemon on the sea, so that was not so rare. But I think there was an island who got Dream, Pokemon Dream. So if the other people get the island, they can use the Dream, and the Pokemon Pokemon Place and Poke Place exist around the marina yacht place, and the yacht place is the boss. He was a Pokemon Go player too. Yeah, so maybe there's so many benefits.
And then finally, Esco, I just wanted to know what you and your wife think about 2 different things. Obviously, you guys would love to be able to play Pokemon Go in your home of Incheon or just anywhere else you are in South Korea. And then eventually you would think that would happen. Sometime down the road, eventually, you would hope, or you just guess that eventually, this is going to be something that anyone could play anywhere in South Korea. So let's talk about that. Do you and your wife or any of the other players that you've been meeting with in Sokcho or talking with online, do you blame anyone specifically? Do you think that this is the Korean government's fault? Do you think that this is Google's fault? Or are you guys just still upset that you can't play, but you're not trying to blame anybody? What are your feelings on that?
So honestly, I just heard about that was a government's rejection, but I think that problem is related with the other Korean company, and I just worry about they will block about all the GPS. So I just worry about that. But I gotta hope if Pokemon Go released in Japan, maybe Busan City will be available to play Pokemon Go. So if South Korean government and block their GPS, we will go to the Busan place. So anyways, I don't want to blame anyone, because I just finished my military service. I know what situation it is, I know why Korea's government blocked that GPS map. But maybe I hope that they will allow that. I hope so.
And then when, you would think they eventually would allow this if that's what's holding this up, or Google would make some changes. If it's a problem with Google, there are some conflicting reports on who's to blame right now. But if it does eventually get to the point that people could play in Incheon, or they could play in Seoul, or they could play in Busan, or Gwangju, or Daegu, or anywhere else, are you worried about what that might mean for South Korea? I mean, people are always looking at their phones constantly here. You might think that if everyone's playing Pokemon Go, maybe people are going to walk into traffic. Maybe people are going to get hit by bicycles when they're walking on the streets. I mean, what do you think is going to happen when everyone in South Korea can play Pokemon Go? Are you worried about that, or do you think people are going to be fine and this is not something we have to worry about?
Yeah, I think that every people can be fine. There will be no problem, because every day there are so many traffic accidents, car accidents, and roadkill like that. So Pokemon Go, it's one of the case, and it's just a game, and I think I think the South Korea is not so high crime rate country, so. It is not related. I think the Pokemon Go, it is not related with any crime, and it can be safe. I think so.
So, yeah, crime, I agree. I think South Korea is a very safe country compared to a lot of places that I have lived in, or where I'm from in the United States. But specifically, do you think people will be able to handle it here so that they're not constantly, because people have fallen off a cliff playing Pokemon Go. People have gotten in traffic accidents. It's being reported playing Pokemon Go, or people have been walking and hurt themselves. Specifically, that concern. Do you think that might be a problem here in South Korea, or do you think, just like what you mentioned with safety, no, that'll be fine and everything will be okay?
I think that depends on the case by case, and so I don't know exactly, but I hope no more any more accident about that. So maybe every people should be careful about that.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect that's a perfect way to respond. Everyone should just be careful.
Yeah, and in the subway or bus, or even on the street, every people just looking on the phone. Just without the Pokemon Go, just Kakao Talk and just web surfing, like that. So Pokemon Go is not the problem.
So Pokemon Go might not be different. It might just be the same.
Yes, I think it can be same.
Excellent. Well, we'll have to see what happens with this. I agree. Perhaps it might just be more of what we're already used to. So maybe even it'll be the opposite. Maybe South Korea is so used to people using their phones all the time that they won't have this problem, where perhaps in other parts of the world where people are not used to constantly using their smartphone all day long, maybe they're not prepared for Pokemon Go. So that's a very interesting way to think about it. Well, thank you so much. I've been speaking with Esco, and he, of course, is teamed up with his wife, Holsu, for EXBC. You can check them out on Facebook, on YouTube, all those other services that we just mentioned. So good luck with the rest of your plane, and I'm sure you guys will be heading to Sokcho once the weather clears up.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'm Chance Dorlin for KoreaFM.net.